excited about tonight's recipe because it's my mama's good home-baked lasagna. Now, I called up my mom and told her I had a big party tonight and I wanted to make her lasagna under 10 grams of fat or less. You know what she said? Good luck, baby. So we made a few adjustments to this absolutely fabulous lasagna. They're going to help you eat great and feel great. So here are the ingredients that you need for the lasagna. You need 1 pound of ground turkey. You're also going to have 1 chopped onion, 1 small can of tomato paste, 1 large can of chopped tomatoes, and I always get the kind that's got the basil, garlic, and oregano in it. They're yummy. 1 jar of Prego, and I always use the 3-cheese Prego. If you look on the back, it's the lowest in fat, only 1.5 grams of fat per serving, so that's going to help you out as well. 2 tablespoons of sugar, ½ teaspoon of oregano, ½ teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a ¼ teaspoon of garlic powder, a large can of fat-free, actually a carton of fat-free cottage cheese, and 1 package of mozzarella. So here we go. We're going to start by taking the onions, and we are just going to go ahead and saute them up in Pam spray for about 2 minutes. Okay, once we have those sauteed up real nice, we're just going to add them to our meat, and we are going to brown that meat all the way through. Make sure that there's no pink left. So we're just going to let that cook for just a few minutes. Make sure all that beef, actually it's turkey, all that turkey gets good and brown. Okay, so while that is simmering over there and just getting all good and browned, we are going to take 2 egg whites and we're going to put them and mix them with our cottage cheese. And that's going to give us a nice mixture that's going to hold this yummy lasagna all together. Just separate the yolk. If you don't know, the most fattening part of an egg is the yolk. That's why my husband and I, we eat a lot of egg whites, especially in the morning. We love, sometimes I'm going to have to make you the egg white bagels, eggs and turkey and cheese. We make them with egg whites and they are delicious, and they're about 3 grams of fat per bagel. Yummy. Okay, so we're just going to mix that up there with the cottage cheese and the eggs. And now, that's all mixed up in there, we are going to take, we're going to drain our meat. Oh, I'm so excited. I hope it turns out as good as Mama's. She always made the best lasagna. I love the fact that my mother goes to EMwomen.com and she takes my recipes. Feels pretty good when you grow up and your mama calls you and says, honey, how do you make this or that? Okay, so we're going to pour that right back into our pan once it's drained. Now we're going to start adding the goodies. First thing you want to do is you want to add your diced tomatoes. Now those are diced and they're drained. Then we're going to add some of that tomato paste. You're going to use about a small can. Now this is a larger can, but so we're not going to use quite all of it. Put that one in there. Then our 3-cheese Prego. There we go. Pour that in there. Oh, it's looking good. You're going to use about a ½ teaspoon of Italian seasoning. You can use a teaspoon if you want to. I'd usually do it by sight. And you're going to use about a ½ teaspoon of oregano. And about a ¼ teaspoon of garlic salt. It's going to be good. Now, I'm going to try something because when I make spaghetti, I always add just a touch of cinnamon. Believe it or not, it gives it quite the flavor. I was at a restaurant one time and I absolutely love their chicken parmesan. And I said to the chef, I said, now look, I don't live anywhere near this state. Would you mind giving me your recipe? And I looked in the recipe. What I was loving so much about their chicken parmesan is they used ground cinnamon in their mix. So I've added that to my spaghettis, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to my lasagna too. Okay. Now I added a little bit more Prego just to make it nice and creamy. Now what I'm going to do is, I think I said teaspoon. We actually want to do 2 tablespoons of sugar. It's going to give it a nice flavor. Okay. And we're going to let that simmer for about 10 minutes until that's nice and heated all the way through. Now in the meantime, I've got my water boiling. We're getting ready to cook our noodles. And then I'm going to show you how this becomes a 6-layer lasagna. Guaranteed to be delicious. Alright, so here's the fun part. We've cooked our noodles. I've drained them and I've just laid them out here on this plate. Our meat has simmered for about 10 minutes. It's gotten really good, all mixed up with all that tomato sauce. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start lining the bottom of the dish with the noodles, just slightly overlapping so we don't get all seepage. We really want all this mixture to cook on the inside of these noodles. Now, once we get that in there, you know, if I was a real Italian, I probably would have made these noodles myself, but I didn't. I took them out of a box. Okay, so we've got the bottom lined really well with noodles. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the meat mixture, and we are just going to pour that meat mixture on top of those noodles. Okay, so once we've got that fully covered with meat, that looks good. Smells good too. And you'll notice I've got a lot of meat left over. Now, we want to make sure and reserve some meat. I went ahead and added extra ingredients because I'm going to make a lasagna for my neighbor as well tonight because they're just moving in. But you want to make sure and reserve some of the meat because at the very end we're going to add some on the top. So what we're going to do now, after we do the meat mix, we are going to add the cottage cheese layer. And that's cottage cheese and the eggs. Put it in there like that. And just spread it all around. Ooh, this is going to be good. Okay. Alright, so we've got the noodles, then we've got the meat mixture. Now we've got the cottage cheese and egg mixture. We're going to add a layer of mozzarella cheese. And depending upon just how low fat you want it to be, really this is what's adding the fat right here, is this cheese. But since we don't have very much fat in it at all, I used a lean ground turkey, fat-free cottage cheese, egg whites, basic seasonings. We're still pretty lean even if we use this cheese here, which is about 1 package of mozzarella. Now we are going to add 1 more layer of noodles. Oops. And again, just overlap those slightly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just put a light layer of the meat on top. Not a whole bunch, just enough to cover it, almost like a garnishing. And it also keeps those noodles from drying out. And the final touch is just add a little bit of cheese just for the beauty edge. Alright, here we go. We're going to bake it now at 350 for about an hour. Now I like to go ahead and cover it so that those top noodles don't dry out. In there. I'm excited. Now, while that's baking, I'm going to go ahead and make the heavenly chocolate mousse, which if you've never tried it, it is EMlicious. In fact, it's under 10 grams of fat. It's under 1 gram of fat. Go to EMwomen.com and you can check it out, and you can check out this and other recipes. If you have a recipe that you'd like to send to us, send it to us at info@EMwomen.com.